So I'm asking the Divine Ascended Masters what the collective needs to know right now as you find this. And we've just flipped 2 cards out, and I shall read them to you. We have, ooh, me likey. Okay, we have Horus, which is you are seeing this situation accurately. Beautiful card. The Eye of Horus. So we'll take a look at that one in more depth. And then we have the Ascended Master Hina and Freedom. Okay, this relates very strongly to my own sort of pathway. So I'm going to relate 5-5 on the timer right now. I'm going to relate what I've sort of been experiencing, and maybe this will connect a little bit to you. So I've been speaking with my guides very clearly, asking them to give me very, very direct and clear messaging, 111 on the timer. And perhaps that is something that you are also seeking. You might be feeling a little bit confused in terms of your spiritual or divine direction. This could be a pathway in when it comes to work or career, or even just generally speaking, like getting involved in certain clubs or I hear sponsorships. Okay, so some of you might be creators out there or entrepreneurs looking for sponsorships. And so you are seeing this situation accurately. Horus is reminding us, and I love that we have the hawk at the bottom there. This speaks to me very much about how our intuition will give us small signals, quiet signals, and sometimes because of our upbringing, our training, if you will, we will sometimes disregard our feelings around a situation where I'm getting the sense something might seem to be really good on paper, but there's still something that's not sitting quite right. So you're being reminded to assess that as well. You know, our dreams, and I mean by this, our vision for our lives, they exist for a reason, and that is part of it. Stop doubting yourself, because this is going to bring about loads of freedom. Okay, I hope the YouTube bots don't think that's a saucy little card, but I am going to read a little bit, and I'll try to read quickly about Horus and about Hina. Okay. Okay, so part of the messaging that I'm also receiving around this is I had this message come up in the dead of winter, and I haven't shared it, but I record a lot of things for the curriculum, if you will, for the curriculum. And the message is about free will and what that means. Everyone else that we are in co-creation with here on this planet have also been granted free will. And sometimes we see certain behaviors or attitudes with other people that we don't personally agree with. And sometimes we feel motivated to want to like call them out or set someone straight or put them sort of in their place, if you will. And I know that Mel Robbins has a book out, and I haven't read it yet, but she's, you know, out on the podcast circuit. And of course, one of the big, you know, teachings that she's saying is just let them, right? Let them. This is so valuable, and it's very like nuts and bolts advice, because let them means you're not putting yourself out of alignment for the sake of whatever you may perceive to be the greatest good. Okay. So, and I know that's really tricky, because we have so many things in our world right now that comes across as being morally wrong. And I get that based on how we've all been raised and what we believe is, you know, someone's innate rights. And I'm thinking of human rights and civilians' rights and all of those things that are happening in the world right now. I'm not saying don't get involved in helping to effect positive change from that social standpoint. But what I am saying is that if you are getting yourself so bunched up and off center and out of alignment because of something someone else or an institution is doing, you are feeding into the problem rather than becoming part of the solution. And that is easier said than done. 100,000% understand that. Much easier said than done. But you're being called and reminded to remember your center. Okay. So I'm going to read from the Ascended Masters book for this because it is an oracle card. So Horus is saying, trust your feelings about this situation because they are accurate and valid. Let go of self-doubt, even in the face of others' opinions. Your spiritual sensitivity has helped you see the truth. And this is what we're talking about, that intuition. Although it may be easier to go along with the crowd or to shrink into apathy, bing, bing, you're called upon to take decisive action. You already know what to do. Even if people aren't supporting you, know that spirit is. Other people will soon come around to your point of view. In the meantime, assume a leadership role. And what's coming up with that too is people not directly speaking out, but I know, and I've said this before on the channel, that sometimes our upbringing brings up these ghosts, these ghostly little voices of what we should do, could do, what, folks would like to see you do, right? And that may not be in alignment, that, what your parents, your upbringing, your ancestry might be saying, that may not be in alignment with who you are today. And there's a reason you are here today, and that, others respectfully are not, is because we are working on generating and creating a new cycle. And we are generating and bringing in a different vibrational frequency for the collective. And I'm feeling like this sort of rise up my back. So some of you might be going through a Kundalini experience. Some might be going through a Kundalini awakening. And I'm going to caution to not push it. If this is something that you are pursuing as far as a goal, that is not the best or healthiest approach when it comes to pursuing enlightenment. So there's a reason why there are master teachers out there, and it seems appropriate this is coming up right now with the Ascended Masters deck. So yes, so again, going back to what Horus is saying, additional meanings, and I'll show you the card once more, is to trust your intuition and gut feelings. Ignore critics, naysayers, or skeptics. Avoid situations or relationships that don't feel right to you, and only you know what is correct. And Horus is the Egyptian falcon-headed sky and sun god whose parents were Osiris and Isis, and he was conceived after his mother brought his father back from the dead with the help of the sun god Ra. So you can call upon Horus for help with spiritual insight, because the eye of Horus, of course, is all-seeing, all-knowing. The god of Ra, of course, is the introduction of the first omniscient, single monotheistic deity from the ancient Egyptian, oh, interesting. I'm hearing planetary movement. Wow. Okay, good. Fascinating. I meant for this to be a short, and I don't think it's going to be, and that is perfectly okay. I'm just rolling with it. So now we have Hina for freedom. And I think why this came through second is because honoring our intuition is the real freedom, right? It's following our own instincts. And again, going back to free will. The power and the right to change your life. I hope that's focused here. So that you experience more freedom. This card signifies that your soul is crying out for more freedom, especially as it involves your life's purpose. Perhaps it's time to take a break so that you can think clearly about your desires and available options. The universe always supports the desire for expansion, creativity, and freedom. Say yes to freedom, and the universe will say yes to you. Additional meanings: it is time to leave a situation that you've outgrown. Question the validity of any rules that you've imposed on yourself. Yes. Allow the universe to support you while you make desired life changes. Be assertive and say no to anyone who's overstepping boundaries with you. Hina is a Polynesian and Hawaiian moon goddess who's considered so beautiful that no one can directly look at her. She felt compassion for the natives, so she threw pieces of the moon down to the islands to provide for their material needs. Okay, I adore this card, and I adore this message because it's like the manna that falls from heaven, right? Always, 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 we are provided for. And again, I'm going to reiterate, we are taught often through our school systems and through our parent systems and traditional systems that there's a certain way to do things, and we absorb that as young people, and then we consider it to be the right way or the wrong way to do things. And again, you're here at this point in time on this planet where you are for a reason. So as soon as you start experiencing discomfort within a certain structure, even though it may not make on paper 100% sense, and I'm thinking about people who, got themselves a little job, a cushy position, a desk job. You might be working for an institution where there is some predictability and stability, if you will, perceived stability. It's important to say. I feel very strongly that if you're being called to action to do something different, that it is time to do it. Now, there's alternatives to this, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to drop everything. And, but there are ways, I would consider even, you've heard of the trend of the quiet quitting, like have a plan in place, put some plan in place for yourself so that you can feel confident and structured as you make a leap of faith. Some people can make that leap of faith and just go for it without the bottom and without the net, and others really need to know like what steps to take when. And we won't necessarily always be told those exact steps, but you will always be supported. 12:22 on the timer. Lovely. So I'm going to leave it there. This is much longer than I had anticipated. This is our divine message for our guidance on the go with Bodhi, who's back there, and myself, Hope. And I really do hope that you subscribe. If something resonated for you, please comment. And, if there's a testimony that you have to share in terms of what you may have experienced, have you made a leap? Have you made a jump where you've taken yourself from something that would be considered quite stable and predictable and you've moved into a creative field? A creative force? Have you allowed a creative force to take you on and move into something? And what was the positives that came out of it? Please drop it in the comments below. I love you so very much. Bodhi is just the best. He is so wonderfully patient as he waits for me to wrap it up, but he knows the deal now. Anyways, you guys, I will see you soon. Have yourselves a wonderful week.